Welcome, my friends, to the showdown between the Dark Elves, who shall be led by Malekith's mom, and the Greenskins, who are going to be led by Warzog, and it looks like he is indeed going to be leading a massive Savage Wa. So in that note, guys, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So as far as the build goes, we do, of course, have the Chill of Sontar, and, he's pretty chilly. He does, of course, have that Frostbite effect, which, if you're going to be going for a bit of a kiting build, we do have some melee forces, but for the most part, it's going to be a very aggressive kite build. So we have two groups of Blackheart Corsairs with handbows, two groups of the Dark Riders with repeater crossbows. You have some Harpies and a couple Dread Spears over there as well, but for the most part, we're going to be trying to chill things down, slow the roll of the Greenskins a little bit, and hopefully be able to pick them apart. So the Chill of Sontar, what I really want to do with him is get in there, get some really good breath attacks, and then from there, have your opponent bunch up on him, because oftentimes, he's a pretty juicy target, right? He's relatively lightly armored, his melee defense isn't the best, and Savage Orc Biggins in sustained combat against him, I think he has some Savage Orc Biggins, are going to be super good against Chill of Sontar. So basically, I want to get in there, blob him up, and use a Soul Stealer, maybe some big charges from my Cold One Knights, and these Soul Stealers, or the Slaanesha's Harvesters, whatever the hell they're called. You guys, they basically just cast Soul Stealer and do some other stuff, but basically that's kind of my game plan. So Chill of Sontar, two Harpies as well, just for battlefield control. If they have things that are, for example, chasing down your skirmishing units, so if you have your Corsairs or repeater crossbows who are being hunted by Forest Goblin Spider Riders, Harpies are pretty good at kind of defending the counter skirmish. So for the most part, we're going to see how they do. Going to be chasing those type of units, maybe rear charging just to get leadership penalties on trolls, going after archers, all that good stuff. However, my opponent here, the great Zax Bane, does of course have Savage Orc Error Boys, and they're pretty tough. These guys like to go fisticuffs, and they can certainly put up a fight against Harpies. So it's not going to be like, jumping on goblins. So we got those. We got Slaanesha's Harvesters, two groups of Blackheart Corsairs with handbows. My apologies, guys. This is my first cast after waking up. Always a little bit rough on the first one of the day. Two groups are Dark Riders with repeater crossbows, which are going to be hammering trolls. If you came with like an Arachnaut Queen build or Black Orcs, there's plenty of good targets for these guys. Granted, a lot of the archers, even the Orc archers, who aren't known for their prowess here, can outrange them. So I have to be very careful. Rathi's a really good choice as well, incredibly good at sniping Greenskin Lords. She's got the Wand of Koraidon, which does have a really nice Doombolt ability, but more importantly, she's got the Soul Render and the Dark Sword, I think is what it's called. Gotta double check that. Heart Render and the Dark Sword. Damn it, I'm so off today. So it lowers melee attack and melee defense by 9. On top of that, Overcasted Doom and Darkness and big Alpha Strike fights is super strong against Greenskins. So we're going to be trying to get that going, and of course she does have the Enchanting Beauty. So lowers melee attack by a total of 18. Really, really good stuff. And two groups of Cold One Knights. That's pretty much it. So for my opponent's force, it's a massive, like I said, Angry Wa. Savage Orc Biggins in the front line mixed in with Savage Orcs, which honestly are pretty good against like basic Dark Elf infantry. A lot of Dark Elf players do go with like Bleak Swords and Dread Spears and things like that. So if those guys get in and can crump some gits, it's very scary. He's got a couple archers as well, two trolls, Savage Orc Biggins in the back, and a bunch of Savage Orc Boar Boys who have pretty good AP values. It'll be interesting to see how they perform, and they do, of course, have that physical resist to make up for their abominable armor and melee defense here. But yeah, very cool build for sure. And Warzog in the back, of course, a very competitive pick. He's got Brainbust, Fist of Gork to really cycle that Bonewood Staff and get the massive melee attack buff on his whole army. And on top of that, he does have the Here We Go, which is always a good ability. So let's get this show on the road, guys, and see how it goes. So firstly, we're going to be taking some pot shots at the Savage Orcs here, trying to just pop those guys. I wanted to get the Biggins, but he did pull back into the defense range of his archers. Now the chilliest of Sontars is going to be unleashing a torrent of Frost Breath here onto the Savage Orc Biggins. Here it comes. Massive volley coming down to the Corsair Handbows. Also shoot these guys. And man, the chill of Sontar really hurts. I feel like it's a little bit more efficient than Dragon, since they did kind of fix the... I know that's not true, but just for me, I feel like it is. But Blackheart Corsairs with Handbows are going to be falling back, doing a little bit of kiting. Pretty good against Savage Orcs. Wouldn't do so well against like Black Orcs or Orc Boys. But here comes the old bait and switch. So we're going to be charging in with the Chill of Sontar. Granted, it is a risky gambit because if I'm not able to push him off the Chill of Sontar and he can get that full surround, it's really going to suck. So Slaanesha's Harvesters are going to be coming in, and now we're going to start with the Witchcraft. So here we're going to be getting, I believe the first spell we cast is Soul Stealer. It should be coming down from Rathi here in a second, and there's the Soul Stealer and the Word of Pain on some of his high DPS units. And you can see we're taking a bit of damage, so it's certainly a little bit scary. Slaanesha's Harvesters are going down quick, but my timing was a little bit off. But we charged him with the Harpies in the back. We overcast Doom and Darkness here as well, I believe. I think it just wore off. But for the most part, we get a massive break on some of the units. We do break the Savage Orc Boar Boys. We weren't able to break the Biggins, so the Alpha Strike didn't work quite as well as I wanted it to. However, in the meantime, we were able to really hammer some of these Savage Orc Biggins up here with our Cold One Knights on the high ground. And the Hydra is going to cause some terror, and we do break off the Trolls and the Biggins, and with the rear charge coming in, maybe we'll get these Savage Orc Biggins off. There's Overcasted Doom and Darkness, so I was a little bit late on that. I don't think I had the Winds of Magic to do both at the moment, so we are able to get a bit of a mass break. Chill of Sontar pulls back, and we basically sacrifice Slaanesha's Harvesters for all this damage you see. So we're able to get a lot of these troops to half health, at which point I'm going to be trying to chase them off the field with Marathi and really just kind of get my value from that mass terror route. It's not even terror, actually, it's just base leadership. So my Corsairs on the high ground are going to be skirmishing over here, but they are kind of forced back by the Savage Orc Biggins. Getting some decent skirmishing here as well. I do have them on skirmish mode because there is a lot to handle, and I was feeling a little bit lazy. This was the series of games I played here. I was actually using my wrist brace because I have this like new wrist brace that's kind of helpful. It's like nice for everyday computer work, and it certainly helps, but it's hard to play quick battles in it, so still getting used to having that on my wrist. But it didn't really make that big of a difference here. But Savage Orcs going to be getting charged as well by the Hydra and the Cold One Knights. We're able to get some work there. The Greenskins have certainly done well in this pocket. They've beaten back my Cold One Knights. Slanesh's Harvesters are pretty much on the ropes. You can see they're on the edge of the map here with 18 models. So we've traded back and forth pretty efficiently. These Dark Riders with Peter Crossbows are going to be chasing off these Savage Orc Biggins. Marathi tried to chase off the Trolls, but she actually got caught by some pigs. So some of these Savage Orc Boar Boys were able to catch Marathi, and they don't have anti-large, but she's still lightly armored, and they hit pretty damn hard. So I do not want to be staying here, even though I do have to pull in my Dark Riders to try and peel here. We are able to get those guys down. With Marathi, she puts their melee attack to a whopping 8. Man, that is brutal. Heartrender and the Dark Sword definitely doing some work. Now in the back, we have another cockfight. We have the Chill of Santar teamed up with some Cold One Knights, trying to fend off the most recent advance of the Greenskins. These Trolls are going to get terrified by the Chill of Santar, and the Cold One Knights should be able to polish those guys off. But the Greenskins have a pretty good little pocket for sure. I mean, Savage Orc Airboys here, another group here as well, and that is a lot of damage coming into the Chill of Santar. So at this point, I'm just going to be pulling back. Chill of Santar is really good in games when you're able to get a big Alpha Strike engagement, and he can soak a lot of damage, but if you can have him soak the Alpha Strike damage and not, be wiped out, and then pull back and heal, man, he can do so much work, because the Hydra, the longer it stays and just kind of recovers, it's really going to kind of tax your opponent, because in the early game, they have to invest so much to get him down. So on the far side of the battlefield, we have another cockfight. Slanesh's Harvester is going to be going fisticuffs with Savage Orc Biggins, and the Trolls are going to be rallying to their king. Well, I guess Throg isn't here, but I wonder if like Greenskin Trolls would like see Throg as the Troll King in terms of lore. Anyways, we get another Soul Stealer back here, which is going to be slapping the base on those Trolls quite good, and also we should be able to clean up these Savage Orc Biggins. Granted, there are some Savage Orc Foot Biggins here, so Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins. A little bit tricky. It's a tongue twister for sure, but we do get the rear charge here, and of course they're without frenzy. Leadership's a little bit low, but a beautiful brain buster coming in. Really, really nice cast there by my opponent. He's able to really just Shrek a lot of my forces. That was incredibly nice. So from here, the Savage Orc Biggins are going to be leading in there, trying to get into that cookie jar, and it looks like they might actually get a couple. They're going to crumb some gits for sure. You can see a lot of the Dark Riders are trying to pile out of here. They were committed to a big fight before, so yeah, they're being dragged down by these boys here, and certainly not a fun situation for them. So Balance of Power is pretty even. Chill of Santar here is trying to control the battlefield. He's kind of, my anchor. He's just sitting here, he's healing, he's taking these arrows like a champ, but I'm trying to avoid them, of course, but mainly I'm trying to isolate the Savage Orc Biggins and get terror routes and push them off the battlefield. Granted, they are going to be immune to psychology while their frenzy's active, so it's going to be a little bit, tough to break those guys. Harpies are going to be jumping over here on the Savage Orc Airboys. I'm actually quite curious about how this battle will unfold. Harpies are very beat up, 34 against 58. I feel like, though, the Harpies are doing some initial damage on contact. I feel like the Savage Orcs, once they fight back, will probably be able to kill the Harpies. I mean, they're shaken, but yeah, I guess they're taking a lot of damage, but yeah, now you can see the Harpies are really starting to take that damage. On the far side, Dark Riders with the Peter Crossbows are trying to chase these Trolls off the battlefield, and I do get a Wand of Koraidon here on Wurzog, but he's able to juke it, so very, very good micro there from my opponent. He pulls back, and both of us are just kind of getting our bearings. I mean, I'm pretty much out of ammo, so now we both just have to go fisticuffs. Both armies have endured quite well. Chill of Santar getting a little bit of a breath attack there. I should have been more patient probably and just attacked with the Corsair handbows and then gotten a breath attack to make sure they were still. So here come the Corsairs. At the very least, Corsairs do have armor. It's still going to be a hard fight, but with Marathi coming in, lowering the melee attack of the Savage Orcs by 18, such an insane buff. It's going to make the fight for the Corsairs much, much better. You can see I'm not really taking too much damage. As the chilliest of Santars is going to be jumping in here. Oh, with the tail whip coming in, doing some great work. But more Savage Orcs are coming in. More Archers are laying fire. Wurzog's still pretty healthy, so there is probably still some magic available. But we do get a terror route there on the Savage Orc Biggins. And in the back, we're trying to get some peppering fire here with the Dark Riders with the Peter Crossbows. But they're very beat up. And if my opponent wants to turn and put any pressure on these guys, they're probably going to fold to any of this Greenskin missile pressure. So I had a couple Harpies coming back, but it looks like they do shatter on the re-entry there. Did I have a single Brave Harpy? No, I was going to say Harpies aren't that brave. Normally, they would, if there was one left, they would always be gone. So he turns, gets a couple shots here, is able to break a couple of groups of my Dark Riders. Chill of Santar is back in the fight with Marathi. So we're in a pit fight here, guys. These Savage Orcs are just not going quietly. Despite all the debuffs and the frostbite and all that stuff, man, these guys are still going strong, and they do have the Fist of Gork as well, so their damage output is going to be quite nice, even against some of the targets that are a little bit superior in terms of troop quality. Marathi's very beat up. She does have 821 HP. I do get a Soul Stealer over there. I tried to hit Wurzog in like this blob here, but he was able to move, so it didn't hit too many troops, so it just gets Wurzog, because he was kind of standing amongst those Savage Orcs. So I was like, oh, let's get the 2-for-1 there, but alas, Marathi does at least get healed up quite a bit, about 400 HP. My Corsairs, who ran out of ammo, have tried to get into the back line. They're pretty quick with 40 speed, so they do jump on the Savage Orcs. But the Troll Pound Town squad's coming in. These Trolls are just throwing up on him. Oh, that guy's That guy's about to get slammed pretty good. Definitely not fun for that Corsair. It's kind of like the scene from the Avengers, or the original Avengers, I guess, when Hulk smashes. I was about to say, I don't know why. I just thought of a Lord of the Rings character's name, but when he smashes, what the hell's that guy's name? Loki. God damn it. So over here, the Dark Riders with the Peter crossbows are going to continue shooting into the Trolls, getting some damage, but the Trolls did a great job just breaking off those Blackheart Corsairs. Balance of power is really even. However, the Hydra, the longer, if you don't cut those heads off, it's going to keep coming back and causing problems. So I just need to get a terror out. So from here, I'm like, okay, I'm going to use a wand, I'm going to pull back and get another charge and try and pull the Greenskins pack a little bit and hopefully outlast the Waaagh. But the Waaagh, of course, he basically got his full duration there. So my opponent had a pretty good little situation. He does juke the wand with Wurzog, but it wasn't enough to force him back. And the Hydra does get the healing proc, which is nice. So the heads are growing back indeed. And now this is what I wanted. A couple of the guys are going to be terror routing those Savage Orcs. So now we can turn around, isolate these Savage Orc Biggins. And I do have a Doom and Darkness as well. So our bows in the back, Dark Riders are shooting in again. Just one group, so it's not the best situation, but basically, Marathi's going to be coming in here in just a second and casting Doom and Darkness, which I have to say was really, really solid in this matchup and has been incredibly useful this game. So we're going to be turning in just a second here. Our bows in the back are going to keep shooting here at the Savage Orcs. Granted, he's probably just going to turn and take some pot shots at me. And now we have the pit fight of fights. So we're going in. Trolls immediately break because they got terrified, but we do also use Doom and Darkness on them, which is enough to put them at negative 23. So that's really good. So from here, Marathi's going to be chasing off the Trolls, and the Chill of Sontar should be able to kind of break this initial formation. So here he comes. There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes, and he's certainly going to be cleaving some of these Savage Orcs. Very, very fierce fight, to say the least. Oh, look at that tail whip. This guy's doing work. And man, I have to say, Chill of Sontar for the longest time, and Hydras in general, I always kind of perceive them as a bit of a meme unit, but I actually think they're pretty good. And I guess seeing Falcon play a lot with them, he of course makes them look really good. It kind of inspired me to start trying them out a bit, and man, they are really a nice anchor piece. So right here, the Dark Riders are going to be getting chased off by Wurzog, but the Trolls are going to be getting pushed off the map by Marathi. Actually, these two Cold Knights actually took care of them. 59 HP, what troopers. Marathi's basically just going to be flying over, making sure these guys go, and at this point, we're going to be chasing that pig. Bounce power is pretty even, and we do get another fight here against these Savage Orc Air Boys. The Dark Riders charge into the back just to give that leadership penalty of negative 14 for attacking something in the back. And Chill Sontar is getting in there. He's doing it. This Hydra's pissed. Wouldn't it be crazy if there was actually animations where their heads did come off and then they grew back? That would be some next level awesomeness. Anyways, Wurzog here is on his pig. He's doing his thing. He's trying to unify here with some of his Savage Orc Biggins. Pretty much his last bastion. If he's able to get an effigy and maybe nuke Marathi, maybe him and his Savage Orcs could take the Hydra, but the Hydra is just healing. you could see it's not at its healing cap quite yet. Probably has about another 500 HP. It's going to get up, and here comes the Hydra. Oh, those Savage Orcs just getting the business of their own crumping. The crumping of their own business. That didn't make sense, but it's okay. It was awesome. And so the Hydra's going to be jumping in here. Savage Orc Biggins are going to be getting chased. And at this point, it's basically just hunting the pig. And you can see he's going to be trying to get that optimal fight, but we just go in there, and Wurzog is going to get smashed by the Hydra and Marathi. So well played. Zach and I played a bunch of games, so you guys will be seeing those on the channel. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let's make this a hot 2-for-1 and just take a look at another battle here. And yeah, we got to experiment with a lot of fun builds. We were trying out different things, and that was a fun one, to say the least. Having the Hydra battling against the Savage Hordes, it's not often you get to see that. So that was definitely really cool. But yeah, the Biggins actually, ended up being a bit of an issue for the Hydra. I couldn't commit to fights too easily. Plus, he had a lot of anti-large for my Cav play, which was interesting, especially in conjunction with his Effigy of the Get. He was able to get a couple of those on my Cav units and pick them off. I didn't capture that on camera terribly well, but he did a really good job with those. So well played to him. It was an awesome game. And guys, now we're going to jump over to game 2. And now we're back with game 2. Which is going to feature a showdown between the Vampire Coast, who's going to be led by Luther Harkin, and the Beastmen, who are going to be led by Captain Dreadlocks, Morker the Shadowgave. So another strange build coming in. It looks like it's going to be triple Chaos Spawn, so high mass pushing through. And I've noticed that Chaos Spawn actually can, on the Beastmen side of things, are a little bit better because they actually have poison. So they do saturate poison in the front line. They can really chew through chaff incredibly quick and get you into that juicy center of the lollipop. So it's a little bit scary for sure. So as far as my army goes, it's going to be Luther up in the skies. He's the best choice, hands down, in my opinion. I've been experimenting in this matchup, and I think that Luther is just so good. He can snipe enemy lords. He causes terror. He's just a beast of a duelist. He just brings so much utility. Frontline's going to be deckhand mobs. We're going to go with a fleet captain, and instead of using a Death Star with crabs and all these big monsters, we are going to have a somewhat of a gun line. We have 3 groups of handguns in the back, Lamprey's Revenge, 2 groups of Morgul's, a couple halberds, and as well as 2 Fellbats. Fellbats basically are a very good tool against throwing axes, also very good against Centaurs. They have high melee defense, and they can really just target Centaurs and the mobile Beastmen forces. That's pretty much it for my force. It's a gun line with a little bit of monstrous support here in the back and a couple zombos here. And Luther's up in the sky, ready to go. For the Beastmen, it's going to be Blackhorns, Ravagers, and these guys are just monsters. 47 melee defense, 36 melee attack, perfect vigor. These guys just go balls deep, and they do not mess around. Aside from that, he's got Ungor Herds. And honestly, Ungors and Gors, like, usually is going to be all you need against zombie power deckhand mobs. And Beastmen are probably one of the best factions at killing chaff units, so you certainly have to respect that and really try and counterplay it with your monsters and other units. Now in the back, he does have Chaos Spawn coming into the Sunset, a Break Shaman, Morker the Shadow Cave, Butchers of Kalkengard. These guys are MVPs as well. If you can kind of delay a little bit, bring these guys in late, man, the Butchers can just be absolute terrors in the night. He's got a couple Centaurs and Deep Vanguard, and that's it. So a very, very cool build. It's certainly going to be pretty crunk for sure. I mean, the Chaos Spawn are unbreakable, and I was actually expecting to get some like terror routes and things like that with Luther, but against those guys, they're going to be sticky. That's what she said. So over here you can see that Luther Harkin is going to be dropping some breath attacks, and he does get a nice one actually, picking off a Chaos Spawn, although I wasn't even targeting the Chaos Spawn. I was actually trying to get the Bray Shaman here, so Luther just no-scoping these guys. And in retrospect, maybe I should have actually been targeting the Chaos Spawn. Like Luther, I was like clicking on the Shaman here, trying to get rid of him, because his spells can be quite good. You know, refreshing the vigor of the entire army is certainly nothing to laugh at here. In the frontline fight, we have deckhand mobs versus Ungors, but I do get the taunt off, so their melee defense is going to be 0, so normally a fight in which deckhand mobs may struggle a little bit is going to be a decent fight. We have some gunfire coming in as well on those guys. And over here on the far side, Morgul's piling into the front line against Blackhorn's Ravagers. So far, so good. And on the flank, Ungor herds are going to be coming in. So now comes the real ugly part. This is where the Chaos Spawn get in. And I have a bit of high mass, but not as much as him. I mean, he has 3 Chaos Spawn and Minotaurs, a very nice Vile Tide going down there as well, hitting the black spot. Now the Chaos Spawn are coming in. So I do have my missiles pressuring these guys, but Chaos Spawn, you know, are a lawnmower against lightly armored targets. So you can see there's going to be some buttering of the bread here. These zombie power deckhand mobs, 69 models left. Man, but look how quickly they're getting melted. So I summon another group of gunnery mobs here in the back, just trying to lay peppering fire into the Chaos Spawn. And in the back, we are able to get the caster, I think. No, not quite yet. Luther Harkin was trying to pick off the caster. He gets it down to half health. Now he's going to be jumping into this main pit fight, trying to really stabilize the situation. Over here, the Butchers of Kalkengard do come in, and I basically just use Fellbats to kind of tar pit them and inundate them, whereas wherein the Morghuls and then the deckhand mobs are going to kind of saturate in and hopefully be able to kind of wear those guys down. My gun line is still online for the most part. One here and one here as well. One in the middle does get compromised because Morker did use his Chaos Spawn ability to just break those zombies in the center. So yeah, a lot of Chaos Spawn coming in. In total, there's going to be 3 groups, 5 groups of those bad boys with the summons. And another nice flank in the back. He's able to get the Ungor Raiders back here and really just start to pressure my back line. Some Morghuls are going to come and chew up on these guys, but Morghuls, a lot of nerfs to Vampire Coast recently have certainly changed the way that you have to play. They don't cause terror anymore. You know, pre-nerf, these guys most certainly would have been terror rotted off, but now things are different. You have to account for that. So here the Lamprey's Revenge are going to be pushing off these Ungors. I was able to secure this flank, and at this point we are going to be pulling the Lamprey's Revenge back. But the Beast Herd in the middle really causing a lot of problems in a delayed Vanguard coming in. So these guys were really deep in the corner, and I felt like I was in a really good position so far in this battle. I was like, oh, this is going pretty well. I mean, yeah, he's gotten in, but we've killed his caster almost, and the Chaos Spawn are losing steam. But suddenly, there's just a massive herd of Ungors coming from the backfield, and I was not prepared for this at all. I committed most of my resources, so here come the Ungors. Let's see if they can change the tide of the battle. So some of the Centaurs in the back, like I said, Fellbats are a pretty good answer to those guys. Just annoying, tar pitting. They have high melee defense, so they can really endure the attacks there. And the Centaurs don't get the charge off on Fellbats, so you're usually going to be in a good situation. On top of that, we do drop a taunt as well, coming in from Luther, so able to, or I think the captain actually, not Luther hornswoggles people. She taunts people. It's a little bit different. The Chaos Spawn herd, though, is moving forward. They're able to collapse this part of the formation, moving back towards the center of the battlefield. Luther Harkin's been quite busy, but I am able to get rid of the caster, which is nice. That thing has been a terror, just kind of nuking my gun line. My guns, for the most part, are offline. Granted, they were able to get decent value against Chaos Spawn. There's one group of full health Chaos Spawn left. One is very, very low, and I think that's pretty much it. The other 2 were pretty much taken out by my guns, so I think they paid for themselves. But the battle's very close, and now things are certainly going to change, as he does have these Ungors in the back, and I, wasn't expecting those guys. Very, very good catch there. Here we do have the Lamprey's Revenge, who are going to be fighting the Chaos Spawn up on the high ground, going to be trying to crab slap these guys. Dropping, they have some atomic booty drops as well. Not as good as the Leviathan, but nonetheless, these guys, they work hard. They work hard for that business here. So the Chaos Spawn should be dissipating. Granted, they're getting some okay damage in. It's nothing bad. They're going to be disappearing here in a second, and he does switch to the Morghuls, which is a great play, because he's not going to get too much damage, but the Morghuls, he could crumble and collapse them before they disappear. So great play by Zach. I really like that quite a bit. Luther Harkin, in the meantime, is going to be fighting in the pits with his halberds. They're going to be fighting against the horde of monsters here. Definitely some scary stuff, and you can see up on the high ground, the Chaos Spawn are going to keep fighting against the lone Chaos Spawn as far as HP 120. Reminds me, I'm actually going to be playing some 40k after this. My opponent, I believe, is using a bunch of Chaos Spawn in his army, so I should be fun to see those guys in action. But the bounce bar is pretty even. Luther Harkin's still very healthy. I have killed his caster. My caster's in relatively good shape. Morghuls are getting Last Samurai, and I think this was a bit of a mistake. I thought I could close the distance quicker with my summons pitting this group down, but I probably should have pulled the Morghuls over here and had them help in this big pit fight. And Luther is going to be going after Morker, but I realized Morker's really tough to kill, so kind of trying to get him is another mistake. And again, 2 big mistakes here. Luther should have gone over here, and the Morghuls should have gone over here, and just let the zombies buffer and kind of screen these guys out. But instead, I waste time on Morker, and I get some damage on him. It's not terrible, but for the most part, I lose my Morghuls against those Raiders here. And now we have to surge in back here and try and clean these guys up. So the Lamprey's Revenge is going to be holding down the formation here. Zombie Pirate Gunnery Mobs doing their thing as well. And Luther does get a nice little breath attack, able to mincemeat some of the Butchers of Kalkengard. And my caster here is going to be dropping a summon of Gunnery Mobs. But it looks like there were some Goreherds nearby who are going to be surging in. I figured getting some Peppering Fire into the Butchers and the Chaos Spawn would be really nice, but very, very nice play, kind of screening those Goreherds over to kind of take my guys out. Balance Power is a little bit even, I would say slightly in the favor of the Beastmen, and they don't have any summons left, which means that the Balance of Power is actually in the favor of the Beastmen quite naturally. My summons here will be disappearing relatively soon. They're pretty bad in melee combat, but I do have Lamprey's Revenge. Luther Harkin is still in okay shape. I tried to get Luther in to just break the Butchers of Kalkengard, but they pull back, and those guys are just meaty cows. They do not go quietly, and I just need that terror route. I need Luther to kind of push these guys off and free up the Lamprey's Revenge and my Halberds and just really kind of stabilize his position. In the meantime, Goreherds here, who were attacking the summoned Gunnery Mobs, are off, and hopefully they'll keep shooting. We'll see. I don't know if I put them in guard mode, which was a mistake, but for the most part, at least they're going to be kind of distracting some of these Chaos Spawn and holding things down. Luther up in the skies is going to be jumping in, trying to break these Butchers. I figured that they were really the big thing that was going to punish my crabs, so I was like, I need to get these guys, and we're having our problems for sure. They have high melee defense at 60. Luther has good melee attack at 44, but these guys are really enduring quite well. Despite the pistol shots and Luther's really good attacks, we're not able to really burn them down, and he gets a really good surround right here. And in the distance, the Ungor Raiders are shooting in, but the pocket is certainly it's a close fight. I mean, I have my crabs here. The Lamprey's Revenge do have 120 armor, so Ungor Raiders are going to have low AP against them. So that's going to mean they might last, but man, what a close fight here. And Luther just trying his best to get rid of these guys, and I still haven't killed one. I haven't been able to kill one of these guys since I jumped on them, so maybe that was a mistake as well. Not sure, but Luther's going in. Is he going to get it? We do drop the taunt, which is going to be huge. Lowers their melee defense to 33, and finally Luther gets a nice attack there, is able to take one out, and I think this is going to be a landslide. As you can see, the Butchers of Kalkengard, now that they're taunted and debuffed, are going to be a much easier fight here for Luther, whereas before it was actually a little bit tough. I mean, he would, of course, win eventually, but it was hard. It was hard to say the least. So 9 Butchers left. We just need to break these guys. The Vampire Fleet Captain is hustling, being chased by Morker the Shadowgate. Going to get a rear charge into the Butchers, just trying to break those guys. And it looks like we might break them. They're pretty low on leadership. 24. They're in the ballpark of breaking, and the crabs are like my last bastion of hope over here, holding back the tide of the Beastmen. Are they going to be able to halt this advance? We will find out on the next episode. Well, not really the next episode. It'll be in this video, but you guys get the point. It's just stupid. Anyways, Luther Harkin can continue to try and break down the Butchers. I pull my crabs back as well, and we're just going to be trying to break these guys, because I know if I don't break them, they're going to run, they're going to regenerate, they're going to come back, and it's going to pretty much trigger army losses for me. My Vampire Fleet Captain, in the meantime, is going to be hustling, but she's crumbling, and she does have the hunger, so I will be turning around in just a second to fight, so at least she can, eat some beast people and hopefully heal up a little bit. Luther Harkin going to continue to try and break the Butchers, and we finally get a natural break, which is awesome. So at this point, I can't quite remember what I do with Luther. I think I pull back and go after the archers and the crabs as well. These archers have just been MVPs this entire game, and that's kind of the tale of the tape against Vampire Coast. Archers are just always so good because your gun units aren't terribly effective at trading with them. Although maybe a couple Scurvy Dogs would have been good, but high-level Beastmen players, oftentimes if you try and Scurvy Dog them, they defend their archers with their own Centaurs, and Centaurs are a great counter against Scurvy Dog play. So this game I wanted to try something a little bit different, but I'm certainly getting punished for not bringing Scurvy Dogs. So the Ungor Raiders going to keep shooting in here, going after the Lamprey's Revenge, and that bread is certainly being buttered as those guys are going down. Luther Harkin is going to be making sure that these cows get broken off, so he's going to be charging in here, and he gets a nice charge. Certainly good stuff, cleaving a couple Beastmen on the go. But these guys have just been so tanky this whole game. I can't even express how much time I've spent fighting them. Another Hornswoggle is going down. Melee defense is now going to be 33, very manageable for Luther. And the crabs are kiting over there. The crabs actually have shotgun dudes riding on their back, so they can kite and fight relatively well. So just trying to buy time, finish off the Butchers, because again, I don't want those guys coming back healed at all. And you can see we haven't killed one in like a minute. We've been fighting these guys forever. Man, these cowhides are just not going. And finally we break them. So Luther is pretty much the last stand against these guys. And there's pretty much no chance, because if I attack Morker the Shadowgave, he's going to be able to just, tank it while the Raiders shoot me. And if I attack one Raider, the other two will shoot me while Morker Pimp Claws me. So we're going to try our best here. We're going to fly in. We're going to get a couple pistol shots as we do go in here. And Luther's going to be going for the guys up here, going for some of these Raider folk. Then we switch on to Morker for a second. We come over here. We're trying to see, maybe we can get a lucky tear out, because maybe Morker could win the duel if all the Raiders were gone. But, in the sight of their glorious leader here, Morker the Shadowgate, they're not going to be going. And Morker gets that claw across the face, pimp slapping Luther Harkin with all of his might. And that is going to be all she wrote for the Vampire Coast. And you can hear Wookie and Gooby, my other dogs, in their barking in celebration as their beast people win. Wookie is certainly a Beastman fan. And well played. Yeah, a couple fun games for sure. Hopefully you guys enjoyed those. A couple things I might change to the build. I'd probably just cut like one gun unit and maybe just get like a Scurvy Dog. A lot of it was execution and targeting and stuff, but yeah, having Scurvy Dogs, like even like one or two, had I been able to kind of scout out those raiders, I mean, that's a lot of what ifs, right? I mean, oh, had I done this, had I done that, of course I would have won. I always hate when people say that. You know, like you play a game, you're like, well, had I done that? Well, it's like, yeah, you didn't. That's why you lost. You know, it's not like a justification. But Scurvy Dogs, I think, would give more battlefield control, which would increase the likelihood of me maybe finding them. Granted, he had a really deep vanguard. I honestly don't think I would have found them. That was a really sneaky, and they took forever to get there, which it was his sacrifice, right? Had I gone for like a true blitz build, that may have cost him the game because those guys would have been out of position. But the fact that, you know, I had a more defensive build allowed him time to get in, get that great positioning, and then just use those raiders to you know, get the work in. So I mean, he played great. His target priority was awesome. His tacticianship was awesome. Zach did an awesome job, and I look forward to showing you guys the rest of the games as well. So guys, that's it for now. Hopefully you enjoyed this 2-for-1, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.